Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from the 7 groups. We will do a presentation about pragmatic. The 7 groups are: the first speakers is Noni Emilia Putri, the second speakers is me Nazifa Tulaila, and the last speakers is Adelia Bella Pertiwi.
What is pragmatics? Pragmatics is a branch of linguistics that investigates how language is related to the context in which it is used. As this definition shows, pragmatics merges as a coherent and domain of inquiry only in relation to the study of language extracted from it used in context, which has been the main focus of both 20th century linguistics and the philosophy of language. Pragmatics, proportionality, and language functionality. The field of pragmatics, or at least the term pragmatics, arises at the meeting of two philosophical schools, American pragmatism and logical positivism. The term was coined by Charles Morris, who took it from the name of the American School of Philosophy associated with Charles Sanders Peirce, William James, and John Dewey. Morris' account of the function of science draws heavily on Peirce's semiotic framework. An additional trichotomy that distinguishes three branches of science study. One, syntax, which considers the relationship of science forms to one another. Two, semantics, which concerns the relationship between the forms of science and what they stand for, namely their designate. And three, pragmatics, which is the study of the effect of science on the entrepreneur and is therefore concerned with all physiological, biological, and sociological phenomena that occur in the functioning of science. Pronouns and other didactic words. One of the ways in which context can complement the meaning of a sentence that is less than explicit is through words that receive a portion of their meaning through the speakers. Context and orientation. Such words are referred to as didactics and include pronouns that, I, demonstrative, this, that, adverbs, here, there, now, today, preposition, behind, before, and complex expression involving words like that, tower, over there. Object of pragmatic studies. In the previous description, it has been stated that pragmatics refers to the study of language used based on context. The fields of study in this regard, which are the commonly referred to as pragmatic fields of study, are dixis, presupposition, speech, etc., and conversational implicature. Each of the above areas of study is briefly
1. Implicature. The term implicature is used by Greece to describe what a speaker might mean, suggest, or mean, which is different from what the speakers actually said. According to Levinson, conversational implicature is a difference from the semantic contents of a sentence. Pronouns are an example of how the context in which a sentence is pronounced can help improve the meaning of the sentence. 2. Disguise. Disguise is a technical term for create for one of the fundamental things we do with speech. Disguise means designation through language. The linguistic form used to complete the designations is called the expression disguise. In other words, lexical or grammatical conceptual information that points to certain things, whether subjects, place, or times, is called disguise. For example, he, here, now. The three expressions give order to the sentence certain context so that the meaning of the utterance can be understood clearly. A. Personadic size or person size. Personadic size is the basis of orientation for time and space size. Size people use same pronouns so name because of its function which replace oneself. B. Place size. Place size denotes the giving of form to a place in terms of the location of the character in a language event, which includes A. Being close to the speakers here, B. Far from the speakers but close to the listener there, C. Away from the speakers and the listener there. Example: sit with me here. C. Time size. Time size relates to the disclosure of the time interval in terms of the time a speech was produced by the speakers, now, yesterday, the day after tomorrow, and the other. Example: later in the evening I will come to your house. D. Discourse size. Discourse size, which relates to the passage in the discourse that have been given and or are being developed. E. Social size. Social size relates the social difference that exists between the participants in language event. This size causes pollutants in language.
The third, maxim of conversation. The most notable attempt made to formulate pragmatic rules is found in the work of the British philosopher H. Paul Grice. He is trying to formalize what we know when we know how to look at implication in conversation. He concluded that language users can compute implicators because they all follow some implicit principle, and therefore any language user can assume that others follow those principles. The fourth, presupposition. Presupposition comes from the word to presuppose, which in English means to suppose beforehand, in the sense that before the speaker or writer says something, he already has a preconceived notion about the interlocutor or being discussed. The fifth, speech acts. In studying speech acts, the importance of context is evident. In some band practice situations, my house 6 to 8 is a reminder, but the same sentence might serve as a warning in a different context. We call this the purpose that underlies speech, be it a reminder, warning, promise, threat, or whatever the illusionary power of speech acts. The last conclusion. Knowing a language means knowing how to produce and understand the meaning of countless sentences. The study of linguistic meaning is called semantics. Lexical semantics deals with the meaning of morphemes and words. Composition semantics are third conditionality with phrases and sentences. The study of how context affects meaning is called pragmatics. Pragmatics is important to learn in linguistic study programs. Based on the explanation above, the importance of pragmatics in linguistics at least in two ways. The first, pragmatics is the only level in linguistics that studies language by taking into account its users. Second, related to the syntactic and semantics inability to explain the phenomenon of everyday language use. I see the position of semantics and pragmatics as two complementary things. In addition, with regard to language teaching, pragmatics plays a role in developing communicative competence. That's all. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.